Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. We've got some fantastic questions for you which should be appearing on this side of the screen right now. So we'll get through them in just a moment, but don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that sort of thing. Ring the Kendo bell. It appears after you've hit subscribe. That helps you get better at Kendo. It's a well-known scientific fact, so make sure you hit subscribe and then hit the bell. Don't forget as well, if you do enjoy the channel, if you enjoy the content that we're bringing to you, and it brings you any value whatsoever, to do your shopping at kendostar.com. That's my website, of course, that provides amazing, wonderful Kendo equipment all around the world. It's free shipping on everything, by the way. So get to Kendo Star. If you don't believe me how great it is, check out our reviews, because we are the best reviewed website online for Kendo equipment. So yeah, and even if like you don't need a new Borg or a new Shinai or something like that, I mean, you could buy one anyway, but if you don't want to, especially with the crazy deals that are going on, it's like Black Friday today. So yeah, you get like double reward points and stuff. So if you're watching it in the future, sorry you missed it, but there's probably other great deals on anyway. But you could also support the channel by picking up one of these great tenuguri. We've got some awesome tenuguri. There's a link to them in the descriptions. We've got loads of new ones. I really like this one. I'm going to showcase it today. Fooding Kazan, which is a famous slogan, excuse me, from, I think it was Takeda Shingen. He had it on his battle banner. And it also features a lot in a very popular video game, which I like very much. And I thought it was really cool. Video game that is about fighting on the streets. I think you can guess which one that is. But it means to be, is it swift as the wind, silent as the forest, fierce as the fire, and as strong as the mountain. It's pretty cool, and it's a cool design as well. And there's loads of other designs too. So go and check them out. There's links in the descriptions below. So let's get into these questions. Christmas is just around the corner. What could the 6th Dan Renshi Kendo Equipment Company proprietor, who owns more than 9 Borgers, possibly want for Christmas? Well, that's a good question. I don't really want for much, to be honest. I've got my health and happiness. I've got a wonderful family, and I've got the wonderful support of everybody that supports Kendo Star. So I do need to clear my throat though. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, not a lot, to be honest. It's not like I need anything Kendo related. So yeah, just your support would be great. Next one. Hi Andy, noobish question. I often see players essentially just touch an opponent with their Shinai to facilitate disengaging from Tsubazeri. Does having the Shinai resting on your opponent negate Hikiwaza? So I know what you're talking about. There's a couple of ways this manifests, and it used to be Hansoku, and it used to be taken more strictly, actually. But basically, sometimes it is when you rest the Shinai on the shoulder of the opponent, which you can sort of do, but if you like put pressure on and stuff, then they generally give a Hansoku for that. So, yeah. But I think what you're sort of more really talking about as well could be when they put the tip on the chest, on the mune. That used to be Hansoku as well. In fact, what they used to do is they used to have another rule called Chui, which means warning. And you got 2 warnings before you were given Hansoku. So yeah, that's that's something that used to happen, but that doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't negate Hikiwaza at all, actually. So yeah, it's kind of a habit thing. It's probably best not to copy it, but it is something that sort of happens in the Shiai. But yeah, it doesn't. You know, if you've got your Shinai rested on the other person's shoulder, or if you've got it pressed against their chest, and they hit a solid Hikiwaza on you, that Hikiwaza is perfectly valid. So you aren't safe from that at all. Okay, next one. Hi Andy, last episode you mentioned 9th Dan Sensei and how we'll likely never see ones like them again in Kendo once they have passed. Sadly, could you elaborate on that? Presumably you're referring to the older, harder guard of Kendo, in the sense that they were the last generation exposed to pre-war Kendo. If so, do you think as Kendo modernizes and becomes somewhat less hard and more welcoming, that we risk losing something of what Kendo should be? A sensei of mine always used to say to beginners, we ain't baking cookies. Hopefully you take my meaning from that phrase. In light of the rise of mixed martial arts and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there is an increasing interest in a more martial focus in the martial arts. People want an authentic experience. I wonder that if Kendo is made too accessible over time, that we end up losing interest rather than gaining it if people suspect it's become a watered-down version of itself. This happened to karate as being the most popular example, but other arts have suffered from this as well. Kendo isn't there yet, but I worry it may progress in that direction if it ends up focusing on making itself attractive to new members over the progression of its existing dedicated members. Apologies for the length and complexity of the question. Thanks again. Okay, so that's a great question. I did mention about 9th Dan senseis in the last video, and I said how I don't think we'll probably see senseis like that again. It's not really pre-war Kendo, to be honest. I don't think the pre-war stuff is really part of it. But like if you're talking about like the 9th Dan I was talking about that I'd practice with, he was like a graduate of the Busen, the Budo Senmon Gakko, which was like a martial arts school. It was like a university just for martial arts. And although there's a sort of similar concept now in Japan with some of the sports universities, or like the International Budo University, it's not quite the same as what used to happen at Busen. You know, I mean, what those guys went through in their training was like really tough from what I understand. And stuff that just doesn't happen anymore, even in really strict places in Japan. I just don't think that there's that kind of, for better or for worse. I'm not even saying it's like a bad thing, but that's sort of like really sort of hardcore. Hardcore is probably the wrong word. Maybe cruel's a better word. Training, I just don't think happens anymore to the level that it did, at least at the frequency that it did in the sort of formative years of those people that went on to become those wonderful senseis. And even some of the sort of older Hachidan senseis, they're sort of different, aren't they? Excuse me, but probably, you know, I don't know. I could be wrong about that. It's just a theory of mine. But the thing is Kendo has sort of come away from that sort of really, you know, there is really tough keiko, and there is really hard keiko, and there is really cruel keiko. And some of it is necessary for progression in Kendo, but I just don't think it's as common or as widespread as it used to be in the past. And I think that's why we won't see those sort of senseis continue to appear in the future. Having said that, I don't know if that's necessarily just for the sake of attracting new people to Kendo, because I don't think that's something that Kendo as a whole sort of really cares about that much, because it doesn't do a great job of it. So yeah, I mean, especially in Japan, like a lot of dojos in Japan don't care about trying to keep the kids happy, because most people that start Kendo in Japan are kids, of course, and the club doesn't have to worry about whether the kids enjoy Kendo or not, because that's not what they're supposed to be there for, which is a big difference to Kendo outside of Japan, of course. So, but I don't think the way that Kendo is practiced outside of Japan is going to have a big influence on the way that it's practiced in Japan, and therefore overall. So at least whilst the balance is so heavily skewed in that direction, I just think even in Japan that sort of the days of like, you know, 4 hours of pure kakari-geiko with no other type of practice, I just don't think that they're, you know, I don't think they're coming back. Okay, next one. Would you consider doing interviews on the Kendo show? Maybe high-ranking sensei or high-level competitors, for example. Thank you and keep up the great work at Kendo Star. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is something that I had planned to do. I had actually already started to arrange it before the events of 2020 occurred. So yeah, it is something that I'd planned to do. I'd set up, I was supposed to be going out to Japan in April of this year, which obviously got cancelled, and I'd lined up some interviews with some people there, some of them very high level competitors and high ranking senseis. It is something that I will be doing. All right, it's something that I'll be doing. So yeah, watch this space. Next one. Hello, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, what are you most thankful for in regards to your Kendo life experiences? we're all certainly thank you for you. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. You didn't need to. I'm just a guy on the internet that just loves Kendall. Just can't stop talking about it. What am I most thankful for in regards to Kendall life and experience? I mean, this is probably going to sound a bit cheesy, but like, it's the truth. Is what I'm most thankful for, and this is really sincere. I really mean this. Is everybody like you that have supported me either via the Kendo Show, the channel, or via Kendo Star. I'm not going to lie to you. This year's been challenging, to say the least. 2020 was started as a very optimistic year for Kendo Star. We ended 2019 on a massive high, and 2020 was supposed to be a year of massive expansion, and it very quickly turned into a year of survival. But we managed. At least so far, we're nearly at the end of it. And although the situation isn't over yet, I do see us coming out of the woods, and that is very much thanks to everybody that's supported us. I really do appreciate it. I can't express that enough, to be honest, because that's what supports this channel. It's what supports me. It's what supports my family. I don't do Kendo Star as a sideline business. It's not a side business. It's a full-time enterprise. It's a big enterprise. It's not. I mean, we're not a conglomerate, but we're not small either. This isn't something that's a part-time job. This is everything that I live and breathe. So the support that everyone's given me is what I'm most thankful for. So thank you so much. I'd like to say that, to take that opportunity to do that. And of course, thank you to my family as well for supporting me through it, because without them I couldn't have done it. Especially my very supportive wife, who was on the channel last week, the week before. But happy Thanksgiving as well to all those that celebrate it. Yeah, I'm English, so I'm not really that sure about how that sort of convention works. But anyway. Hi all, I'll be doing my second Dan grading in a few weeks. Any advice on how to prepare mentally and physically for it? Any do's and don'ts to look out for? So if you're second Dan, do what you basically did at first Dan. Make sure your bow is tied properly. Make sure your bow is tied properly. Do the proper Neiho and Neigi, and make strikes with Kikentai no Ichi. Okay? That's all you have to do. If you do that, you'll pass second Dan. Pass third Dan if you do that. Okay? So, yeah. And shout loud. And you'll be fine. Right? Don't be nervous. You'll be fine. Be fine. If you go through Shodan, you'll get through Nidan. Hi Andy, I've been often told that in Kendo we don't wear belts or any form of grade indicator because at the end of the day grade shouldn't matter. But then again, there's usually a big effort to get grades in most dojos, so what gives? So, yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. We don't wear belts or any outward display of grade. That's true. It's not that grade doesn't matter though. But grade isn't something that you use as a... your grade isn't really some sort of status. I mean, in some way it is, but... I think the thing is really like the concept of having visual symbols of grade. I think it really came about from judo, right, with the coloured belts. And that's mainly like for kids, I think. Because like, I'm pretty sure most adults that do judo are like already black belt. So they all look the same anyway. It's certainly not the case that grade doesn't matter. Grade does matter. It's important to do gradings. It's very, very important. Doesn't mean that like it makes you better or something like that, but it does actually. You won't improve at Kendall properly if you don't attend gradings and do gradings. But grading is there for you, not for you to achieve status over others. That's something that comes with it sometimes. Certainly it comes with responsibility, but it's there for you to put yourself through a stressful and difficult test in order to overcome difficulty and validate the achievement that you've acquired from your training. But an outward display of that's just not necessary in Kendall, to be honest. So yeah, especially as in Kendall, like it's less like in like judo or karate, where they actually have quite hard physical contact with each other. So if for example, if I don't know much about it, but like I imagine that if someone who's very high graded in judo is fighting with someone that's much lower graded in judo, that of course they'll have a distinct advantage, but there's a real possibility of someone getting hurt in that situation, I expect. There's less of that in Kendall. Like even someone who's a very beginner can still practice with a very high graded opponent, and the outcome of them getting injured is very, very small. What I'm getting at is, it's important for, if you're running a judo class, for example, to know what everyone's grade is at a glance, so you can easily group the right grades together. Whereas that's probably less important in Kendall. Probably. Next one. Hi, Andy. I've been struggling all this year with tenoichi. I've been feeling pain in my elbow after hard suburi practice, trying to do proper grip and cutting as my sensei says. I use an SSP Dobari Shinai, which is quite heavy. So there are two possible issues: bad tenoichi, bad technique, or Shinai is overweight. Please help. I'm not sure what the SSP makes a difference of. It's just a sticker that sticks on the side that means nothing. But it's not attached to the weight. Just as a thing there. An SSP Shinai is. It's not particularly heavier or lighter than another Shinai. It's just a Shinai that's had a sticker arbitrarily stuck to it. But I doubt that's the problem. I don't think it's that your Shinai is too heavy. Most likely you're gripping the Shinai too hard. To be honest, I expect that's the thing about it. Now, unfortunately, elbow problems are reasonably common in Kendo as well. It's something I've suffered with myself, tennis elbow, but not so much from suburi. Having said that, mine's been from actual strike and practice. So I don't. My guess is probably you've got too much tension, probably in your right hand. You're probably holding the Shinai too tightly, and you've got too much tension in your right arm. Yeah, I'm guessing. But it's a bit hard for me to say, because one, I'm not a doctor, and two, I've not seen you do it. But... okay, next one. There's a couple underneath that. It's not showing it. Anyway, what's the most important things to do mentally to prepare yourself for Kendall? To do things like meditation or yoga. I'm new to sparring, and I feel like when I start sparring, my adrenaline starts going. My footwork and technique when striking with the Shinai seem to go out the window, especially after I'm tired. Do you think it just need more experience? Also, what happens to Kendo Cast? I think that's what you call it. It would be so interesting to hear you podcast about certain subjects in Kendo. Have you just combined it with Kendo Rant? So, first question, mentally preparing yourself for Kendo. Well, you have the chance to do mokuso, don't you, before we practice, and that's the time that you should use to mentally prepare. Just calm yourself down, breathe deeply, and prepare yourself to learn and improve throughout the practice, and use your practice time effectively. The important thing is to remember in Kendo, and this is where I think a lot of us get confused, is that Kendo is not fighting. All right, it's not fighting. When you start sparring or doing jigeko, excuse me, I've really got a frog in my throat today, haven't I? When you start sparring or doing jigeko, you're not fighting with your opponent. All right. Yes, it's a competitive situation where you're trying to make valid strikes on your opponent whilst they try to do the same, but you mustn't let it devolve into a fight. You mustn't do that, right? You mustn't lose your sort of composure to where you're just flailing and attacking randomly, all right? That isn't what it's for. You're supposed to be practicing, all right, what you've learned. So you need to try and stay a bit calmer. It will come with experience though. All right, so as you start to get more experience, hopefully that concept will get a bit easier. All right, but you don't want to be like, I see so many people, you know, they start putting the Borg on and suddenly they're like, right, oh, I've got my Borg on now, right, time to fight. And you're not fighting, right? It's not about fighting, right? Even the Shinai, it's only fighting in the same way that tennis is fighting, all right? Tennis is like, I think there's quite a few parallels to tennis and Kendall. I quite enjoy watching tennis because I see it very similar to Kendall, because it's about outplaying your opponent rather than fighting with them, just bashing heads with them. I think, I'm no tennis expert though, as you can probably tell. Next, so what you said there as well about Kendo Cast. Kendo Cast was a show that I did for a while, a few years ago on the channel, where I did a kind of podcast type thing. And yeah, it kind of got amalgamated into this Kendo rant. Unfortunately, at the minute, I don't have a massive amount of time to do as many videos as I'd like to. I'd love to do more. I'd love to do more podcast style content, as well as taking your questions for Kendo Rant. I'd love to do more analysis stuff. And in the new year, I will make an effort to do more, all right? I am doing my best, I promise, all right? But I've got a lot to oversee here at Kendo Star. I've got a lot of things to do. And I do want to make sure that everything is operating smoothly on all fronts, because I feel a great amount of responsibility to it. So, yeah. I will make an effort. I'm not saying I'll bring back Kendo Cast. I might do. I might bring back something else, but I will indeed make an effort to make more video content. All right. Right. I'm gonna have to clear out some of these so that the remaining ones display. Right. A couple left to go. What's your opinion of Fukuro Shinai's? I told a fourth dan kendoka from my club nearby, and she told me they would only use those for training as protection against splinters while practicing ski. Right, so a Fukuro Shinai is a type of Shinai that's very different to a Kendo Shinai. It's a piece of bamboo that's been split in, I think it's been split like 8 or 12 times or something, and then it's wrapped up in leather. We don't use them in Kendo. They're not for Kendo at all. We don't ever use them in Kendo. So I've never used one. I don't think I've even ever held one. I might have seen one, but we don't use them in Kendall. They're not for Kendall, okay? So I don't have a particular opinion on them other than that they're not for Kendall. We don't use them for practicing ski either. We use a normal Shinai for that. You don't need a particular implement for practicing ski. It's perfectly safe. Next one. Oh, I've copied that one twice. Last one. I'm new here, but I'd love to know where I can find all the answers to these magnificent questions. So this was the final question posted on my post for the Kendo Rant questions, which is in the Kendo Show Early Access group on Facebook. There's a link in the description if you're not in that group, get in the group. But to you who asked this wonderful question, you will find the answers in the video that you just watched. I post that post in the group to get the questions for these videos, which go out every week, usually on a Friday, but I don't want to commit to that. It might be a Thursday in the future, might be a different day. We'll have to see. But for the most part, I do it on a Friday, and that's where you find them. Thank you for watching today. It's been great. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to do all the like, share, subscribe stuff. Most importantly, shop at Kendo Star. Where's the thing? There it is. Shop at Kendo Star, because that's what keeps us going. That keeps the wheels turning. Don't miss out on the Black Friday sale. It's ending on like Tuesday. You got double reward points. There's like crazy discounts. There's stuff that will never come back if you don't buy it before Tuesday as well. Including that Borg set, the Vanguard Special Edition. What an amazing Borg set that is. Amazing. We designed that together on this channel. Do you remember we made a video about how to design a Borg set? That's the Borg that we designed on this channel. It's available until Tuesday. So if you want a set, go and get one. You'll get double reward points. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe. Ring the Kendo bell. You'll get better at Kendo. See you next time. Bye.